Imagine surviving in one of the most extreme environments on Earth, a place where freezing winds cut like knives and the sun vanishes for months. To most people, this sounds impossible. Yet, for one Arctic tribe, it's just another day. Scientists have been absolutely stunned by their ability to thrive in brutal conditions that would leave most people shivering in defeat. From mind-blowing biological adaptations to ancient survival techniques, this tribe has left researchers scratching their heads. The Inuit people live in a place where the air can freeze exposed skin in seconds, where daylight disappears for half the year, and where survival hinges on hunting massive sea creatures with traditional tools. Against all odds, the Inuit have defied conventional understanding of human capability, leaving scientists absolutely baffled. Ever heard the saying, "You are what you eat"? If that applied to the Inuit, they'd be made of raw meat and blubber. Science tells us their diet should be lethal. They consume an almost exclusive intake of fatty whale, seal, and fish, with barely a trace of fruits or vegetables. Logically, such a diet should send cholesterol levels soaring and lead to rampant heart disease. But astonishingly, the Inuit possess some of the healthiest cardiovascular systems on the planet. Their secret lies in a unique genetic adaptation that allows their bodies to process fats differently. Evolution, it seems, may have granted them a biological cheat code for surviving in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Anyone who's stepped outside in freezing temperatures and felt their fingers go numb knows how quickly the cold can overwhelm the human body. Yet the Inuit survive in sub-zero conditions with minimal clothing. In fact, they don't just endure the cold, they thrive in it. Scientists have discovered that their bodies produce heat differently than most humans. Their metabolism operates at a turbocharged rate, helping them stay warm even as temperatures plunge to deadly lows. Physical traits like shorter limbs and stockier builds also play a role by conserving heat. These features seem almost engineered for Arctic survival, prompting researchers to question just how deep these adaptations go. You've likely heard the claim that the Inuit have dozens of words for snow, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, pun intended. Their language, Inuktitut, actually shapes their perception of the world. Studies suggest that Inuktitut speakers process concepts of time and space differently due to their unique grammatical structures. For instance, rather than using relative directions like left or right, they use absolute terms such as north and south. This means an Inuit elder could be blindfolded, spun in circles, and still accurately point north without hesitation. While scientists still don't fully understand the mechanism behind this, it's clear the Inuit possess an extraordinary connection to their environment, one that challenges our understanding of human perception and adaptability. So, are the Inuit living proof that humans can evolve to master any environment, or are they safeguarding ancient knowledge that modern science has yet to uncover? Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more astonishing discoveries. The Inuits' remarkable resilience is only one example of human adaptability that has left scientists speechless. Another fascinating phenomenon is the cargo cults, a stark example of how human belief can take a surreal turn when faced with technology that appears indistinguishable from magic. During World War II, isolated Pacific Island communities suddenly witnessed enormous metal aircraft descending from the sky, delivering mysterious goods packed with food, clothing, and weapons. To these islanders, who had lived without cities, electricity, or modern tools, these events resembled divine intervention. Specifically, some Melanesian Aborigines observed how the American military consistently received these miraculous cargo drops. Believing that mimicking the Americans might bring more cargo, they built wooden replicas of airplanes, runways, and watchtowers. They even marched in formation, mimicked military drills, and painted USA on their bodies, treating it like a sacred symbol. However, when the war ended and the U.S. military left, the cargo stopped arriving. To the tribes, this wasn't merely the departure of soldiers, it was the abandonment of gods. Some even believed the Americans had stolen their deities, taking the divine cargo with them. Desperate to restore the connection, they continued their rituals, waiting for the sky to deliver once more. But the parachutes never returned. Today, cargo cult is a term used to describe blind imitation, but for those who lived through it, it was a lived spiritual reality they couldn't easily escape. Melanesians aren't the only group that has bewildered researchers. Deep in the jungles of northeast India lives the Naga tribe, a collection of more than 40 tribes spread across the border between India and Myanmar. While they might appear to be another indigenous group living off the land, their past tells a much darker and more intense story. Traditionally reliant on hunting and agriculture, the Naga were not just skilled hunters, they were legendary. Some tales describe warriors who fought off tigers with their bare hands, cementing their reputation as some of the fiercest fighters in the region. Their talents extended beyond battle. The Naga are exceptional artisans, particularly in pottery and blacksmithing. Despite a warrior culture, their society wasn't dominated entirely by men. While men held positions of authority, women had clearly defined rights and were crucial in managing households and raising children. One intriguing custom involved inheritance. When the eldest son married, the family home was passed down to him, while the parents built a new house for themselves. But the most infamous aspect of Naga culture was headhunting, a brutal tradition that lasted until nearly the end of the 20th century. This wasn't just a wartime act, it was a rite of passage. Taking an enemy's head granted social status and respect, and the number of heads collected often determined a man's reputation. Warriors proudly displayed their trophies and were heavily tattooed to mark their conquests. Though the practice was eventually outlawed, the legacy of Naga headhunters still lingers, woven into the dense jungles they once ruled. In the highlands of Papua New Guinea, another mysterious group, the Yali tribe, has captivated the world's imagination. Isolated from modern civilization, the Yali inhabit rugged mountainous terrain where survival depends on age-old knowledge passed through generations. They remained largely unknown until one British explorer dared to make contact. Like many other tribes, the Yali's way of life is untouched by global culture, and their traditions remain steeped in secrecy and resilience. Equally enigmatic is the Guna tribe, also spelled Kuna, renowned not just for their vibrant textiles and colorful clothing, but also for their bold cultural stances. At first glance, the Guna appear to be a peaceful island community, but their traditions run deep and their spiritual beliefs are taken with deadly seriousness. Animal sacrifices are still performed to maintain harmony with the spiritual world. These rituals aren't empty customs, they're integral to Guna life. In defense of their traditions and their land, the Guna have fiercely resisted outside influence. Generations have fought off intrusions, and they continue to assert their autonomy with unyielding pride. Far across the frozen wilderness of Northeast Asia, another resilient people, the Chukchi of the Chukotka region in Russia, have also withstood some of Earth's harshest conditions. With a population of about 16,000 Tanos, the Chukchi have lived in this icy expanse for thousands of years, maintaining a culture that dates back at least to the 3rd century BC. While the Soviet era introduced schools and hospitals, the core of Chukchi life has remained largely unchanged. The Chukchi divide into two groups, inland communities that herd reindeer and coastal groups who hunt seals, walrus, and whales. While tools have modernized from spears to firearms, the traditions remain. Their homes, called urus, are polygonal. Tents made from reindeer skins, anchored with stones and straps to withstand violent Arctic winds. A central fire keeps the interior warm enough for the Chukchi to wear light clothing even in freezing conditions. Despite limited contact with modernity, they remain deeply rooted in ancestral customs, adapting only where necessary, yet holding firm to their cultural core. In stark contrast to the Arctic, the Surma people of Ethiopia and South Sudan have adapted to a vastly different environment, one dominated by scorching plains and political tension. Fiercely protective of their traditions, the Surma reject modernization in favor of preserving ancient customs. Divided into 3 tribes, Turga, Chai, and Boom, they rely heavily on cattle and agriculture, frequently clashing with government forces over efforts to assimilate them. These tensions have sometimes turned violent, but the Surma's resolve remains unshaken. Though they prefer privacy, the Surma occasionally permit outsiders to observe their world. However, many aspects of their rituals remain secret. What is well known is their unique approach to body art. Scars, floral decorations, and elaborate modifications are central to their identity. Among the most striking is the tradition of lip, plates worn by women to symbolize beauty and status. The process involves removing the lower front teeth and gradually stretching the lip with larger clay plates. The larger the plate, the higher the woman's perceived beauty, and the greater the dowry paid in cattle.